picture of all of us kids.
I'll try. I'm not too good a picture taker.
Well, that's me.
Get out of here.
Let me get you over here, man.
From the old to the young.
From the old to the youngest? The old.
You may have given close with this.
That's all in there, Carol?
Oh, Jack.
Where's my platform, second? Show my teeth.
I don't know nor if I can fit one or not.
Well, we'll see in a minute.
You shot him on the bounce, you got it.
I don't think I did. I got your feet.
Pop over said he shot on the wobble.
You like that meat, don't you, Bill? Is all your original wells get in here?
I don't really know. I don't.
I think I got them all. You want one?
Let's see.
It is a belly. I got you all in it.
I tell you over here.
That's all?
That's when he rolled the hill.
One day older than
Yeah. 6-1.
Say goodbye.
Doing farewell.
Yeah.
I will do. Day I get old.
He'd be here, but Sharon, Gary was back in his
I wonder why.
She's over there, never mind that.
That picture.
Got a good picture, not bad.
I got a good one of you now, too.
Well, I guess you want everybody in here.
Yeah, let's have a little get together. Get everybody in here.
Wait a minute, dear. Sharon,
Yeah.
got a red light now. Come on.
Joey, we voted on that again.
More time. Okay.
You did? What do you need?
What's it gonna be?
Oh, I have to get real close, huh?
Get us one in the front. But the little one's in front.
All right, y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Jeez.
You get back together.
Get over this side.
We're the original. The original. What they call it?
What's the name?
Now look my way.
Look her way.
Smile at me.
That'll knock you over.
All I see was like all these. Red dots, black. Everybody you can
Yeah, I guess that's all she wants.
Well, I thought you were all around. Sunday tell you got catfish on? I know it's gonna be a
Place here, horse. All right, can everybody hear me? You know, it's not very interesting. You can't hear what's going on. So wait a minute here. Come in, Holly. Help your clothes, will you? First thing I want to say, I'm real pleased with everyone that's here. It's been about a year. We were here on the 10th of September last year, and we enjoyed it very much. And we're real pleased that we can be here again, just nearly a year. Last time we were here. Thankful for all of our relatives. This is called the Wells Get Together. I'm one of the Wellses. And we are pleased and thankful for all of our relatives. Some of them, we don't see them every year. They go out of our knowledge. We don't always know who they are. We're glad to have all of you. We have some friends here that we're really pleased to have. Here's a friend here that I've known ever since I remember, Brother Fulfer, and CH, about my age, nearly. We're pleased to have them and to have Dudley and her daughter with us today. And we're just glad to have all of you. Now I didn't have anything special myself as far as the program is concerned, but we thought we could introduce the families and let them see who's who. And you can see who's who if you don't know. But I thought we could have a little, just a good time for a few minutes, for a little while. And if you have anything you'd like to contribute, we want everybody to feel free to say or do something that would be entertaining or something favorable for us. The rain keeps falling, the ground is soaking wet. Now last year's crop, I haven't gathered nothing. But I'll never forget the last word I heard my pastor say. If a man's got the well, there'll be a way. My brother came by and borrowed my last 10. I guess it'll be another year before I see him again. But I've got the well, I'll make it so much. My wife and 12 kids all down with the flu, and I guess I'll be catching it too. The doctor said the stork was headed back our way. I've got the will. I'll make it somewhere. I went down to the banker to see about a loan. I'd been better off if I just stayed at home. You know, I haven't paid last year's loan, but I've got the will. I'll make it somewhere. The bill collectors, they just keep coming by, ain't received no money, and they're all wondering why. And I was sued by 2 of them today, but I've got the will. I'll make it somewhere. The energy crisis has got, or the drug crisis has got folks shook up a bit. And I'm afraid we haven't seen the worst of it yet. But the Lord himself said he'd never leave nor forsake. I've got the will. I'll make it somewhere. Got a telegram this morning. My uncle died. Trouble sad news for me to receive today. He's got 10 big old oil wells, pumping 1,000 barrels a day. And I've got his will. I'll make it somewhere. You know, there's a lot of things in a little bit of humor or laughter that helps us. And I would like to hear that, because I heard Wendy Nagel good at presenting things like that. It always taught me to have a little relief in some of the pressure that might be building. Well, laughter is a wonderful thing, and entertainment. And I think it's something that we need to work on and to enjoy. Now, I would like to introduce my family that's here. I have one son. My other son and daughter couldn't make it. But I'd like for J.E. And by the way, J.E. happens to be James Weld's first grandchild. And that happened 44 years ago today. He has a birthday today.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jane. Happy birthday to you.
I want to say you sure made my life a little worthwhile too when you came on. You're more like a little brother than that.
Oh.
I tried to teach him everything I knew. I don't know if it's all good or not.
I think it turned out pretty good. I'd like for Jay to stand and his immediate family.
This is my wife, Mary Alice,
Run the camera.
taking the pictures. All right. This is my daughter, Carrie. Kimberly. Kent. Bernard.
My friend.
We live in Las Cruces. Carrie is a 9th grader at Las Cruces High School. Kimberly is a senior at Las Cruces High School. Kent lives in Clovis, soon to live in Dallas. But he's been out of high school for a couple of years. He and Kimberly will be going to Southwestern. Somebody's got college next year in Waxahachie. We also have a son, Brian, who's not here today, and Brian is a sophomore at Mayfield High School in Las Cruces. I don't know if you open this up to anything or not, but we've done a little traveling. I wanted to recognize, I guess, Kimberly. She participated in the national, what is it, Kent? Stand up and read your shirt. Fine Arts Festival. That's Assemblies of God Teen Talent, what it used to be. Now they call it Fine Arts Festival. So she did get a superior rating in New Mexico last year, so she went to the Nationals, and we went there to General Council, which is in Indianapolis, Indiana, in August. Kent is her accompanist on the piano, and Kimberly sang. And there were 175 participants, female vocalists, and she made the first cut. She got a superior rating, so she made the first cut. And then out of the 60 that were left, she got a superior rating. They didn't rate them first, second, and third after that, but she did get a superior, and so we're very pleased with that. And that's one of the highlights of our...
be out right in here. We'll get it out here in just a few minutes.
All right, well, I didn't mean that necessarily. But that's just one thing, I'm not trying to brag, but I didn't think anybody was aware of it. So I did want to tell you.
Well, we all break with you. We're proud of you.
If we don't brag on ourselves, who will?
That's right.
I think we can be proud of our kids.
All right, I think most of you know my wife Bernice. Here, she's not too good at help. We're glad to have her here with us.
Sure.
All right, now we might just open this up for the different ones, if they have something they'd like to say or do. I done that all I can, I'd say my point.
Now by age. Here, greetings.
Yeah, Mark just wanted out to other main church, we're glad to have her here. Friend of our family for 20 years. Feel glad to have her. I don't know what you knew what Ray was doing there, now, I might tell you what he was doing.
Kids like me got left out on a lot of stuff. Jack and Dandy.
Yeah, that's the guy told me about this morning.
When we was going to church at Grand Cavera, Aunt Stella Smith always had a Children's Day program. And she took the little children, and Ray was little at that time, and she had them, she spelled out the word children, and he was the C, which was probably the first one, C-H-I-L-D-R-N, she gave them each one a letter, and they'd have a verse to say that started with that letter. So Ray was the first one, and his little verse was cheery greetings, to go with C. And he couldn't keep his hand still. He'd always say cheery greetings, but he'd run his hand through his hair.
Why all gone?
And Stubb was here, I tell her, she was in the same program, and she had, what better was she had? Cheer. She had a C too, lady. But her was to be a good cheer. But she couldn't understand, couldn't remember her verse. And my mother was trying to help her. And she said, well, just think about a rocking chair. That reminded her of the word cheer. And sure enough, when Stubb got up there, her verse said, be a good rocking chair. All right. Now, most of you, a lot of these grandkids don't know much about Grand Cavera. That's where we was raised, where we grew up. And I might tell you what old Brother Bates told my dad one time. Is a lot of people don't know where Grand Cavera is, but there's not an angel in heaven but knows right where it is. My dad was at a church meeting down in Clovis or maybe Amarillo one time. And of course, you that know him, he always testified, and Brother A.C. Bates was in charge of that service, and my dad testified, he said, there's Brother Well back there. He's from Grand Cavera. All right, we don't know where Grand Cavera is, because there's not an angel in heaven that knows right where it is. But Grand Cavera has that reputation of being a spot where the Lord has blessed and He's helped people. And the Wells was included in that. The Fulkers and the Harrisons and even Dubby got in on some of that. So we're real pleased to remind you of that. And Grand Cavera, again, is a place that we all cherish very much. If you've never been there, don't spend your whole life without going there. we have to tell you what it used to be, and not what it is right now, because it's kind of a little ghost town. We have one or two residents there now, families. We have a little church there, and we are real pleased for that part of the country. Now, some of us have migrated to Florence, Carrizosa, different places in New Mexico. We've scattered and spread out quite a bit. But again, we would like to, especially on the grandkids of my mother and dad, my children, and Orno's children, Ray and Marcus, Bill and Carolyn, Cracker, Jack, pretty told him. I told him many different names.
About Dooley.
All the grandkids of my dad and mother, Jim and Mental. Now, you that weren't here last year, we talked quite a lot about the Wells history about my dad and mother, because it was their wedding anniversary, the day that we met here last year, the 10th of September. And it was very interesting, and it's still interesting to me, and we'd like for all the grandkids to retain this interest in their heritage, what they have inherited. It wasn't a lot of money, but there's some things there that is worth more than money if you study it and think about it. We're real pleased again to think about those things and to understand that he said when you just report work at a certain time, that was enough said. So we appreciate that very much. You know, our reputation, our characters are worth more than anything else that you can have. And to build that up, it takes time sometimes. It don't just come automatically. But if you are affiliated with any family, then you are thought of as that type of person. So we're real pleased to, like Lenore now and Olin, to say something. And you'll got part of your family here. Now, Nora's next to me.
He's the head of the house, but I have to get up top. That's not he does. Well, we don't have many of our kids here today. We have one son and his daughter, their two children, and then a grandson. Y'all get up. Sure, I know.
You mean my wife?
I mean my son to get up.
My wife, Kelly.
Sure.
Trish and Brett.
That's Trish and Brett, Kelly, and Mark. Trish and Brett are in high school. And then our youngest son, his little boy here, Lee. Stand up, Lee. We're real proud of all of our kids. They've been here, but they think about us anyway. And I would sure love to have them to come and to meet all their cousins. They don't know them yet, you see. When they were little, they were together, but they can't remember. But some of these days, we can all be together in heaven.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to, me, my dad, and my mother,
Right.
and all my brothers and sisters, and everyone that's been good to us, we'll know. And I just want you all to know that we love every one of you. And I'm glad to meet all our friends that's here today, every one of them. My aunts, they're getting old, but we sure appreciate them. We grew up with Ora, and she's all just like one of our family. She used to get after us kids and tell us to behave. Sometimes we didn't mind her, but she was always there to lean on. And I'm just thankful that Bernie can go ahead and do things like this. He's a better speaker than I am, but I just want you all to know we love every one of you, and we're so glad to see all of you today.
Good.
I can tell I'm going to brag on it a little bit, all I got some witnesses here. Still love you, you're my son, all that, but on that to it.
We got our two brothers that aren't here today, Rance and Rex. Rex is in Wyoming, couldn't make it. Rance got some other things, blessing. Said send his love to every one of you. Wish you could be here. I'd just like to say how proud I am of this family. It's been a long time, folks. It's great to see all of you again. Making good things and love everyone so much. Got a lot of good memories of times and grandeur and some of the things we used to do for entertainment, when we had videos.
Yeah, like torturing younger.
Well, we were all a little scattered around, but we all got along and made out, It's not one of us that's, I know, in prison or gangsters or murderers or thieves. I'm just proud of that. Because there's a lot of issues in this world that this family has been together and tight. 100 years, as long as we've been together. It's wonderful. I'm proud to be part of this family.
Thank you, John. Thank you. I did each once in a while, my brother's son is older than me, and, he didn't stay at Rector, and he got all made a little money going from cameras, and he'd come back and take pictures, the rest of it. He enjoyed those pictures. And while John was talking there, I thought about, West, when they were, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, sons up their pictures. They couldn't keep their hands off one another very long at a time. They'd have disagreements pretty often. And in that picture, it showed one of them doing something, the other one grabbing up a stick. He got right away. So John, we're pleased that you came and met. Those memories are worth a lot to us. We are so glad for the pictures that we have. It was mine. All right. Who's next? I have to stop and think. You, Ray?
Well, we just got one daughter here today, Donna. Got 2 girls, and I'm cousin. Gerald's in Texas. He couldn't make it either. We do enjoy things coming back here, and I think all of it, especially the young grandkids, this is kind of boring. But when you get older, I think you want to know more about your family. I know I never didn't think much about it, but after you get 20, 25 years old, then you begin to wonder about your family. So you younger kids, I think that this would be good for you, to come listen to some of the stories that we have to tell. And it's so great to get together like this. If you ever get overseas, or if you ever get away from home and you get broke and you're out of money, I can't tell you, you'll start thinking about home, and Pa and Ma and Grandpa and somebody else. So it's just good to get together like this. We can do it more often. I don't know if we can or not. It's pretty hard. It seems like to get away. But to get together like this, just reminisce a little bit. Time goes on and on and on, and we look back and we see that those aren't here that used to be here. One of these days, I won't be here. So it'll be up to the younger generation to carry on. And it's really good for your family. We've got 10 grandkids, and I tell them, Marty's coming down here. I said, sometimes 6 months seems like one day, and one day sometimes seems like 6 months. But when you look back on your life, it isn't very long. So this is what holds people together, I think. The fabric of our nation is our families, our loved ones. When we lose that, we lost everything. It seems like we're losing it. So anyway, it's good to be here and good to see all of you. I was kidding Wes's little girl the other day. She said, I asked her what grade she's in. She said, well, 8th grade. And I said, oh, I graduated in 8th grade. And, but it amazes me that the kids, the ability, the mind that they have today, like these young people right here. I'm not very smart book-wise. I tell you, I can't even put a 10-cent toy together. But it amazes me that the age that we live in about our children, I just want to mention Donald's little boy, 4th grade, in a spelling contest in Albuquerque, and he was number 11 in the whole city of Albuquerque, the 4th grade in spelling. That blows my mind. I can't hardly spell my name. So, we're state? Yeah, the state. But anyway, what I'm trying to say to you young people, use that ability that you've got. It's out of my realm, I'll tell you, but whatever you're learning, use it to good. Seem like you've got an opportunity to do something that maybe we didn't have the opportunity to do. But I just want to urge you to use the ability for good.
And if it's good, accept it. If it's not, you can always take it aside. So that's what we want to impress upon everybody, especially the younger ones. Advice sometimes is, it cannot keep you resenting it. Sometimes you think they're taking advantage of it. But the thing about it is to remember those things. Now, I've tried to develop, it didn't come naturally, philosophy to consider everything and be able, through the wisdom or the knowledge that I have, to detect the good and the bad. And to accept the bad the good regardless of where it comes from, and to turn away from the bad, or forget it. So that's good philosophy. And young people are one that needs to remember these things. And even if we're well, they don't make any difference. You can remember too.
That's a better part of my experience too.
You know, I've heard about judgment. Now, I think most of us know what good judgment is. But you know how you get good judgment? Through experience. Well, now let me ask you something else. How do you get experience? Through bad judgment. So that's the way it works. Most of us have to experience that. All right, who's looking on the line now? Right here. Bill, wait, wait.
Yeah. Don't guess I've ever made a speech, but I sure can. Yeah. I'm what they always call a baby boy. So, I kind of stay home and raise a bunch of kids. About half of them here is mine. Well, Carol and all that. All you other kids stand up and grandkids, and I'll show you what I've done. Our knowledge can't stand together. Yeah, all the kids here except Ken. I got one boy that's not here, and he's got 4 girls. We all live pretty close.
That's how Carolyn Roll is not standing. Well, we sat down.
They're too heavy on their feet.
Not as proud as the rest of
Anyway, we're glad to be here. Thank a lot, everybody, especially Doug and Herb, EPA, and Will. I guess that's about it.
Thank you. While we're thinking about Bill, I've got something I'd like to tell that happened in his life. Working at the monument one time, Bill turned in his dependents, and he left out one. And the guy says, "Is this All you got? Bill said, no, but I said, I thought that was enough.
Bernie, I want to say this is our granddaughter April. We're real proud of her too.
Yes.
And Joel and Carolyn are out in sight somewhere. This is mom. But this is Donna's oldest daughter. She's our first grandchild.
Yeah, we're glad to have them here. April's my pretty good look. Glad you came. All right, now, one next Bill's not here, so I guess that brings down the block.
Baby girl.
Baby girl. And the not only baby girl, but baby the family.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of like Bill. I don't make pictures too often, but I guess I've always kind of depended on my older brothers and sisters.
You didn't get a chance to talk much.
So when Miss Dave used to get in a fight, I'd run to Bill and she'd run to Ray. And then Delbert been in the family. I think everybody knows him for a while, and I think.
That up there, Brad.
He was number 30 grandchild of Mama and Papa. And I think he was kind of special to all of us, but Paul used to take care of him quite a bit. And so we'd go to church and they'd have me to play the piano, and Brent would be walking or crawling, and everybody would say, well, bring me Brent and I'll take care of him. Paul would say, no, I'll handle the Robert. The Robert would go crawling under the seats and up on the stage and running around the church. Paul couldn't control him too good. He'd corral him and he'd tell him to take care of him. So I think he enjoyed him in his older age. I think he was. And I want to say I love all of you very much. You're very special. And a lot of people don't have the feeling like we have when you're in a close family. A lot of people don't know what it's like. Know that you can depend on your brothers and sisters if you need them. And the love and the fellowship we have, and also the upbringing we've had means so much. The older I get, the more I can see. Been brought up the way we've been brought up, and that's what's wrong with the world. A lot of people just don't realize what being in a good Christian family is. So I think we're very lucky. I love all of you.
Thank you, Bob.
I want to say, my Uncle Horace and Curtis are very close and dear to me. Next to my daddy and mama, they're my next family. And my Aunt Ora and Aunt Della are very special to me, too. To me, Nub and Horace and Odell were just like my own family. And T.H. and Brother Fulfer is right there, too.
Yeah.
And Gertrude, and W. May, I knew her all my life, and I thought so much of her when I was a little girl. I don't know what the specialness was, but I remember her so much when I was little. And I went to a fiddling contest in Walden one time and found out it was her girl there and her, and it just didn't, I couldn't believe it. But I don't remember that much because I was so small, but I remember her when I was real little. She was very special.
Stand up again, Brent. And your mother didn't tell everything on you. This young man here, he was pretty special to my dad. And he always brought a lot of fun to me. He wasn't doing it intentional. He just being Brent. But at church, he was. He crawled on the seats and he'd get away from it before you knew it. You ever batted an eye, he's gone. One time we was down there at church and his Sunday school class was up over the platform, kind of down in a room off the platform. And he didn't want to go to Sunday school. He didn't want to go to his Sunday school class, but somebody, I guess it was Mom, that insisted. And finally she convinced him. And he started back here and he crawled up over that platform, crawled over and just fell down in the door of that Sunday school room. Glad to have you here, man.
special people to me, her and her husband, Bill Long. She was very, very special to me. And then I met her nephew too, married him, and then turned around and she married my brother.
Be careful.
So she's got some me in 4 or 5 different ways. She means very much to me.
You never know what's gonna happen, and how things are gonna turn out. Okay, I guess that's all of my immediate brothers and sisters. So we are glad to have Uncle here from Texas, Grady, or Hoss. Hossy, you need to say something for us. You will, please?
Barney, it's good to be here, enjoying all of this. I just want to say the first birth I had was 1911 down in Arkansas. The second birth I had was over there in the bean field, over there close to White Lake Cemetery.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it means much to serve the Lord. I'm so grateful for Brother Fulfer and the folks here, and Brother C.H. and my son. I'm glad for him. I often tell the people, wife done a good job raising him. He's very dear and special to me. Love him very much, and so grateful for his attitude toward his family. I heard a comment from Mike, my grandson. He was dedicating the service up there one day. He said, I've never heard my dad and mother quarrel all my life. I've never heard them have a quarrel. And I thought, well, now that's kind of unusual. Usually it's a little different, you know, between husband and wife. And he made that comment there about Curtis. I appreciate that. And so, Mona couldn't be with us today. I have 2 grandsons, 3 great-grandchildren, and so I'm so thankful for them. Appreciate them very much. But above all, I appreciate the Lord. I'll tell you, time's soon going to be over. That's right. And we're going to have to meet the Lord. I appreciate each one of you children. I'll tell you, Jim was just like a daddy to me. I counted as a daddy. I went to him for my advice and all of my dealings with him. I found him to be a man of his word. So I appreciate him very much. I want you to know I appreciate you. You boys, my nieces, I'll tell you, I tell my folks down there in Texas, well, I haven't got none here, but I got some nieces and nephews in New Mexico. Very proud of them. So I'm so thankful for you and the lives you live and the reputations that you have here in the community. You don't have to ask many folks about James L. Wells or Bernie Wells. They can tell you I know their life, and you have a good reputation. So I'm glad to be here and thankful for everything that it means to me. Appreciate you folks and all you else. I'm grateful for it.
Thank you, Hossy. Now, Hossy is special to us. He lived in New Mexico. Well, Curtis wasn't born in New Mexico, but he lived here the first 15 years of his life up there. And Hossy lived right close to us all the time. And of course, he was a little bit older than I was, but it seemed like we were just kind of boys together. Boys together. We enjoyed him very much then, and we're so pleased that he came all the way from Texas down here to be with us today. And we have Della here. Glad to have her from Texas with us. Della, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I'd just like to say I'm glad and thankful I'm able to be here today. I enjoyed it, and I'm just good to see all you folks and your faces.
Glad to have you, Della. Laura, she's not from Texas, but she's just nearly a New Mexican now.
Yes, good to be here. You know, the ones that I have seen several years. I enjoy seeing them, visiting with them, enjoy being with them.
tell her we're out here in July. And I told him, well, they had to come back in September. So we enjoy having them.
All right, thank you, Orr. Now, to the young people here, you may not know who I'm talking to. I call this Hoss and Orra Della. They're brother and sister. They're brother and 2 sisters of my dad, and they're the only ones out of that family, out of the brothers and sisters left, out of the family. So, we think it's great to take it all together and be here with us. Curtis, we're glad to have you. You have something to say?
Well, I've been known as enough wells all my life, but you may not know how I come to that hand. That's thanks to Uncle Jim Wells. It's stuff like blue, I guess. But everybody down there, they don't want to say Curtis Wells, they don't even talk about. If they know them, they know who it is. But anyway, he's talking about Grand Fair a while ago. Happened to think about it. Chicago, Illinois, years ago, in a big meeting. And they were on where you come from, where you raised, and all this. I said, well, I was raised in Grand Fair, New Mexico. The little boy around the corner, I said, nobody here don't know where in the world that is. And the boy said, yeah, I know. I was raised, my daddy was raised out there too. He was one of the college boys. And I thought that was they didn't know nobody, and there's one sitting out there that couldn't just raise. Well, deal.
Well, Grand Revere, I guess, is a good place to be from. All right, that all the senior welded? Have I overlooked somebody? Bernice, did you have anything you want to say? She tells me she's proud to be a weld. We're proud she's a weld too. All right. Now, we have a very special person right here. I don't know whether he represents Grand Beer or Grand Beer represents him.
We both grew up together.
But he come to Grand Beer way back there. Brother Fulford, you feel like saying a few words and telling us a little bit about Grand Beer yourself?
Oh, thank the Lord. I'm glad to be here. Glad to see all the Ewanses. Praise the Lord. You know what? I knew the Wells family when it wasn't near this Lord. Thank the Lord. I remember one time a young fella, his wife, a couple of boys, moved to Grand Gavir from way back yonder and settled in our country. And the first thing he knew, they began to go yonder. And when Pentecost broke out down there in that Grand Gavir country, why Brother Willis was one of the first ones to get in. I remember what Lawrence Stewart, Lawrence Stewart lived on the place adjoining Brother Jim's place. They're farming down there. They was both farming. Lawrence told me, he said, I heard the racket up on the hill there, and I heard the fellow shouting and screaming and hollering, and directly I looked up there, and I saw Brother Jim coming off that hill. And said when he got down there, he run down there, he just got the baptism of the Holy Ghost. And said he run down there to tell me all about it. But when he got down there, he started to tell me, and he showed me all. He showed me all over how it all happened again. Thank the Lord. So I've always been thankful for the Wells family. And I remember sitting there thinking of all of you a while ago, and I was thinking about it, what I heard Brother Wells tell a fellow at the camp meeting years ago, while he is still pastoring down in there. Fellow that hadn't seen Brother Wells one time, he said, what are you doing for yourself nowadays? Oh, he said, not too much. He said, I have a wife and 8 children I've got to look out for, see that they have a place to live, plenty to eat, clothes to wear. And said, besides that, I have a couple of daughter-in-laws, I have to keep them happy. And he said, I have about 100 head old cows. I've got to see if they get something to eat, a little water to drink. And I have 200 acres of beans. I've got to see that farm taken care of, that I'm driving the school bus, and pastor the church beside that, I'm not doing anything. So you don't know how Grandpa Wells prepared, that's what he learned how to work. Get with it. Thank the Lord forever. I look around here at this host of uses, and I think a while ago about when Jacob moved down into Egypt. Tells about his family. They went down there, about 4 score of them. About his sons and his daughters and his in-laws and outlaws, and all that he moved down there, about 4 score of them, about 80 head of them. I was just trying to count Brother Wells over here. I believe he's got more than that. Thank the Lord. And so I'm thankful for knowing this good family. And of course, I love to see the happy thing while going Bernie's telling there about the fellow going when he went to the bank and had come out feeding. I heard of another old rancher somewhere, and he had to go to the bank, and he went over, he sat down and was talking to the president of the bank, and he wanted to borrow some money. President of the bank sat across the desk from him, and he said, well, listen, daughter, he said, I have one glass eye. He said, if you can look at me and tell me which one of my eyes is glass, I'll make you that loan. I looked at him a little bit. He said, that's right. He said, that's right. I said, how could you know? He said, I thought I saw a little sympathy in his. And I'm glad for the goodness of the Lord. We can come together and have a good joy. You know the scripture that says that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Right. I looked at it, meet with folks and have a good jolly time. Thank the Lord. It's good for us. Good all the way around. I'm glad to be here in this meeting today. And may the Lord keep blessing all of you. And we appreciate you. And another thing that the Lord has said concerning, and I'm thinking about this, the Lord said, I'll visit the iniquities of the fathers on the children to the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me. That's what God said. But, on the other hand, he said, I'll show mercy to thousands of those whose hearts are cut before you. You know what? You realize that you're reaping a lot of the benefits of old Jim Wells and Mental Wells and them souls before you, you kids and you grandkids and great-grandkids and all the rest of it. You're reaping the benefits of a lot of their, what they sowed before you. Thank the Lord for it. And so, yeah, we've been preaching a long time. This is pretty soon to be starting on the 63rd year. That's pretty good, isn't it? I don't know how long the Lord could be, how the Lord could be gracious to a fellow that long, but thank the Lord he has. But I want to tell you this. A fellow told me the other day, he gave me the definition of a preacher, an old preacher. He said an old preacher is just like an old shoe. He said everything about him wore out with time. I thought I'd catch a little glimpse of criticism. Thank the Lord, thank the Lord. I like to see funny things and they look no way. And get something about him. You know, he hadn't been a big, stalwart preacher here all of his life. I knew him when he weren't. One time, his wife and me went over during school. While school was going on, we went over to Brother Jim's house. When we got there, Brother Jim was gone, just sister, and their 2 boys there. We're all going to school, the older ones, and Bill was a baby, and Ray was next to him, and he's just about big enough to be right noisy around about. But while we was there, something upset over Ray. I don't know what it was. But he got all upset. He began to bawl and squall and Well, she tried to appease him with this and with that, and he just kept on after pot. She couldn't do anything by him. Directly she said to him, "Cry, baby, cry." He swelled up. Said, "Yes, you call somebody's cry, baby." He said, "You go off from John that church and you just bawl and bawl." I never did forget that. That's not second hand, I heard it like that. That's all in a good feeling.
Well, Brother Fulford has blessed me a lot of times. You know, he hardly ever gets up to say anything. He can at least get a smile out of you or a laugh, and that's worth it. Thank you, Brother Fulford. This is beautiful. You talk about how you feel towards the world, because I don't feel that way towards me. Thank the Lord.
There's Brother Bernie I'd like to say another word. You know, he got saved in the Dean patch, I believe, in a field anyway. I got saved in the bean field. Jim got the baptism in the bean patch, and I got the baptism up there in Homer Jackson's old house above Grand Cavera.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has any significance, but I was thinking about that. Someday I may put a marker up over there in that field, one over in this other.
Yes, sir.
And the devil has lost 2 souls right here.
That's great. Well, I don't know how much significance it has on it, but don't leave people make you do a lot about it. Now, this younger generation don't know what we're talking about. Bean fields.
One of them.
All right, let's see, who have we overlooked? Anybody like to say something?
Good to have another seat with us.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I couldn't tell what I
The reason I hadn't told on him, I'm ready to tell not on me.
I keep speaking in Sunday school, right?
We appreciate C.H. Never go to school with him much, but I've known him since 1927. I think.
You want to know anything about school days?
I've been asking about you.
You've been asking him for information. Ask his daddy, ask him.
But it is a pleasure to have Brother Fulford and C.H. with us today.
Thank you, we're glad to be here. We feel like we're part of the well, so we wouldn't be here.
I don't know if anybody's any closer than Brother Fulford and my dad. They had some experiences together. It was interesting to me. You know, they had a few revivals together.
Yeah, you know.
Sometimes they sang the song backwards.
Brother Wells, me one time in a place in a revival meeting, I think in a country place. So I preached that night. I quoted the scripture. I said, "He that hardens his heart, stiffens his neck, hardens his heart, and stiffens his neck shall suddenly be destroyed without remedy." And no, that wasn't the way I said it. Anyway, I quoted it right. That's not the right quotation. I quoted it right, and Brother Wells and me both been quoted that way. He that hardens his heart shall suddenly be destroyed without. And so I got one, I quoted, and I said, "He that hardens his face shall suddenly be destroyed." So we went back to the house and our room where we sit down, go to bed, and Brother Wells just fell over, just laughed. He said, "Where did you get that cookie from?" I said, "What is that?" And he pointed to me like I said. I said, "Oh, I didn't say that." Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So I picked up my Bible and turned over and read it, and sure enough read it. That's what it said.
Yeah, maybe Kurt would like to say something.
Oh, well, certainly I could, and I could say a whole lot. I don't believe there's very many of these kids that wasn't born and raised after I was married and lived in that country. I believe Ray was a baby when he and I married and moved over there and he had another. They were the greatest people I ever known. I can say it from both my heart. They were not just your friends and neighbors, but just someone that loves you. You know, we need more of those kind of people today.
Sure.
And I can say that I have loved every one of these kids, and I watched them get married, their kids, them have kids, and then their children. And you sit around and you wonder which one is which, who belongs to who. There's a lot of tales. You could write a book on the Wells family as well as the rest of Grandville. It's a lot of things you kids all pulled off, all done you shouldn't, and the good things and the bad things. But I'll tell you, the thing that's most important is that Brother Wells used to say, get packed up and ready to go up. And that's the thing we need.
That's what he told us. Thank you, Pastor. Yeah, we used to have a lot of people at Grandville, and we had all kinds. I wish sometimes I had a list of names everybody lived there. But I've known a lot of them, but a lot of them I just heard about. But it makes an interesting history. A lot of times you can see a name, why it brings some incident back to your mind that happened with that particular person. I know one time we had a fellow that lived there that came back to visit, and he called us to nickname one of our brothers, his name. His name was Darkrow, so we started calling Ray Darkrow.
Thanks.
But with Alpine or hand, there's no enjoying it.
And we call him Dobbs for short.
Long Claudia, really.
All right.
I think
Since we're talking about my dad a little bit, and we mentioned this last year, and Margie brought out a point that I hadn't thought of that really sounded good to me. My dad made a tape, my brother had him make a tape, kind of giving his life history, and we have it now. I play it every little while. And he was telling about his early boyhood and how he existed and what all he did. But when he got down in his later years, he began to tell about getting saved and what he'd done for the Lord. And he didn't think he'd done anything. But he told about his kids. He had 8 children. And at that time, I don't remember how many grandkids he had. But I think his kids, his grandkids, his great-grandkids, the time of his death was around 80 people. And he just made the comment in there and said, I guess the only mark he'd ever make in this life was helping populate the earth. And Margie said, but he helped populate heaven too. So that was a good thought. Yeah. That was his ambition. That was his life. Trying to help populate heaven. And we'd like for everybody to know that. Maybe you didn't know it. Some of the grandkids may not have been that close to my dad, knew what his aim in life was. But I appreciate that. I cherish that thought. And he did. He spent his life. And after he was saved, which is 1928, Austin already told about where he got saved. He got saved in their field right about half a mile from when we go to Ralston Place.
Yeah.
I remember in 1928, in the fall of the year, in September, and we never heard him pray, but he went over, kind of over a little hill, got down in, I think in the corn patch, and we heard something. Son, and myself, and maybe Noah and Cracker, that was the only ones. Ray was his favorite at the time, and so we stepped over there to look, and when he come to, he said he looked up on that hill, and there stood this kid down there looking to see what's going on. That's when he first got saved. And then about a year and a half later, or a little less than a year later, I guess, and he always prayed by himself a lot. Out in the pasture, or wherever he was, he'd pray. And at this particular time, he was flying corn. It's in July. And the old field, I have the place now, I go by there nearly every day, and I think about it quite often. And I pointed out to Bernice, when she was with me not too long ago, up on a little sandy hill, big cedar trees. They look big to me, they're not big trees to some people. But long about 10 o'clock that morning, he's been trying to receive the what we call the baptism of the Holy Ghost, which is an experience with God. And he decided the horses were getting a little tired. He'd find a little team and an old cultivator to ride on. And it was one row, taking one row at a time. And he decided about 10 o'clock in the morning that he'd just time up and let them rest a minute. He'd go out under one of these big cedar trees and pray. And that's when he received the baptism. And that's when Lawrence Stewart heard this commotion.
Yeah.
And it was right across from Lawrence Stewart's place. And, of course, my dad, as soon as he come to, he wanted to go tell somebody. And I think Stevie Russell and Lawrence Stewart was there pretty close. And he went down there, and Lawrence said he tore up a whole bunch of his beans. He tried to, and of course, he didn't try to tell him, just wanted to show him what he'd done. But I'll never forget that day when he came home at lunch at noon. We lived over on the old homestead, before Furhead. We had a little yard fenced off. And about as far from here to where the kid had sent me, yes, after the gate. And when he came in, when he come through that gate, as Jack Turner says, he cut a shot. And he couldn't talk to us. And he couldn't talk for quite a while. Because we knew what happened, because we got acquainted with seen other people act the same way. But that was when my dad received the baptism. It was after that he started preaching, and he preached the rest of his life. So, you that didn't know that, that's what you have inherited through Jim Wells and Wells family.
That's right.
And as Brother Fuller said, some of the things that he did, you'll benefit from it the longest day you live. These good things are handed down for thousands of generations. The bad things are handed down too. But that's what we would like to remember in that respect.
One thing I'd like to just put on record that she's taken.
Oh, that's it.
All my life, while I was married, some of the kids don't know this, but every Sunday morning he took his Bible, went over the hill and prayed. That was just a Sunday morning thing. But a lot of people don't have the benefit from that. And I thought that so much that Sunday. Go pick over the hill, he'd be praying, talking in tongues, getting his morning message. I guess the only time that we didn't go to church is when we was quarantined, we had to skip service. On Sunday morning, we was lost. He was. We couldn't go to church, they had us quarantined. We'd drive around, him, Mom, and pray, and we just kind of have church at home. But that was the worst day of the week that we spent when we couldn't go to church. I remember that very well.
But you had to get there.
We were quarantined at Mom and Dad. County quarantined again.
Well, of course, we could tell you a lot of things that would be interesting to us. that they're true, it's not something that we're thinking about to say something good, but it's something that actually happened. And we appreciate that. All right, is there anyone else? We move over the...
I feel the people down there in Texas about going to church and wagon, cranking up a tractor when it was too bad to drive a car and go to church. I had that away on the tractor, Curtis and wife, Art and Sis, but we'd get in that old tractor or trailer and we'd go to church. Couldn't make it in the car. Got over there. And that sounds a little far out for some of them folks down there, people that crazy to go to church. We can't get them to go to church now, 100 yards, an air conditioning building, everything else to sit on, but they don't have the determination of this either. They go to church. And Woody Johnson and me walked Jim's place over there, through the rattlesnakes, go to prayer meeting on Wednesday night. Walk out. I think God can make a difference.
Right. That's true, thank the Lord. Well, a lot of times we went to church in Wrangler. I tell them on myself. I was always a sleepyhead. And I got to use the church. I knew pretty well what was going to happen. Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't stay awake to see a lot of times. I sleep on them benches.
Ray was left over there.
Well, I was going to tell myself, I slept 2 times. Went to sleep and when they went home, they got all the way home. They didn't miss me till they got home. And that's about 3 or 4 miles. But Senior Russell was still there, and I finally woke up, or they woke me up, and Senior took me home. And they left me another time. They didn't get very far that time until they missed me and come back and got me. But I slept on those benches when there's room. If there wasn't, I'd sleep setting up again. But there at Grandberry, there's a lot of times when we had room to lay on the bench. And you could sleep regardless of what was going on. Like I say, we had this, nearly everything happened in every service with Brother Floyd. Same thing, and you knew pretty well what was going to happen. And C.H. told us last Sunday, a lot of times when we was tired, we wanted to go home. Maybe it was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. But we've been to church. And we get all hoped up. We thought, well, we're going to hold this out here for just a few minutes. And they'd ask somebody to dismiss. You know, they just set it apart. It may last another hour.
We say, I hope they don't ask Brother Raymond.
That's some of the experience we had at Grangeville. Now we had some other experiences too at Grangeville. We went through the Depression there. We went through a lot of drought since then. How many of you young people know what we're talking about? We call it the Depression. You know when it was?
In the 30s.
In the 30s? All right. That's what we call the Great Depression.
Depression, but nothing, that is.
Now, Bill mentioned we went through the X period.
I remember when he went through that.
We all kind of remember that. But we went through a lot of dry years and different experiences since then. We that are still there. It hasn't been easy. There's a lot of sacrifices that's been made. But all of us that live in Grandview know that water is one of the shortest items we have there. And we've had to haul water. We've had to try to find it first before you could haul it. And it wasn't easy to find a lot of times. So that's some of the hardships. Now, I look back now, and it's more or less like a dream. And I know it's the truth. I can remember what happened, but I can't imagine it being like it was at that time. It seemed more like a dream of the things that my mother and dad had to go through with. I'm sure you had to go through the same thing, and everybody else that lived there. How they existed and got by. Now, I don't think that any of us could do it today. It'd be difficult. If we had to do without, like they do. And we had to try to manage like they did with nothing. Practically nothing. And my dad came there, he didn't have any money. He had enough money to buy him a span of horses. And he bought somebody out that was selling fairly cheap. He got enough equipment to farm us a little bit. But most of that was walking equipment. It wasn't like that we farmed teams, horses. And that's where he got started. And he had to do a lot of it with just his bare hands. I told you last year how he harvested crop with his hands. He didn't have any machinery to do it with. He pulled the beans by hand, he plowed them by hand, and then he beat them out with a fishbowl. The first year he was here. But he was just thrilled with that. He thought he was really doing great.
Yeah, sure.
And that's some of the things that we look at and we wonder how they did it. And I'm sure you and I have got problems just as much as they do. Now, they're different types. As I mentioned in my little poem a while ago about this drug crisis that our nation is facing right now. This is a big problem. This is something that all of us have to face. We have to try to do our best to stay free from it. And we've got other problems. It's different than what our parents had or our grandparents. So my thoughts today is that I'll say again that we're real pleased to have every one of you here. Also, do that.
And I won't say another word. I tell folks down there I have stomped the dobies to build out of the church over there. Brother Fulford, I remember very well going down on the old Confer Ranch, plowing up a little spot, pouring the water in, making the dobies. You built the farm, and we put them old dobies out there to bait and put that grass in, and they can't fathom people are getting by like that. And I had to do it a little bit. I'm bragging, but I was in on it. And we built that church when times was hard.
Here in the fresh.
Cream was $1 a gallon or less, and people milking them cows, putting money into the church fund. And yeah, I tell you, when you got a mind to work, you can do something.
Oh, you do anything.
It's amazing to see the reaction of people when you tell them something like that, they just can't believe it.
The amazing part of it is it's still standing.
Yeah, I remember talking on Dobies, because I don't know, anyone never made Dobies, maybe don't know what we're talking about. Do you know what an Dobie is?
You know how they're made?
It's kind of like picking cotton. It's something that's not easy, but you just mix water and a clay dirt together, and you have to mix it up real good. And that's the reason it's also called a stomping. We waded in it with our bare feet. And mix that mud and get pulverized and mixed together good. That's what I'm talking about when I say we stomped down the Dobie.
I live very good.
You were living real good.
That was the secret question.
But it is amazing what people can do back then when they want to. They did, and everybody would try. And there's no limits on what a person can do even now. You got to mind to work and try. All right, I guess maybe we've about used up enough time, unless someone got something they'd like to say.
I'd like to say that I'm really glad to be here.
We're glad.
I'm in Grandview, I guess, probably 43. I've been 43, 44, somewhere in there, with Horace's brother, Jim's brother. And he took my mother and me in at that time. We lived there for about 2 years. He never said a cross word to us. Of course, I went to this little church that you're talking about, and I believe I was just thinking, I think it's got to be this room, maybe it is.
Might be a little.
I remember, and I remember on Saturday nights, that place was packed. I think people came from behind every tree in the country, all over there. And I can remember Horace speaking and praying, and that's when I recognized him more than just seeing his face today and hearing him pray in there. Because I remember his voice. And I can remember Brother Jim preaching and all those things. And I think today, what I've got in my heart is what I got back at that little church there a few years ago. I'm really glad to be with all the elders. She's just like family to me.
Thank you, Debbie. Now, Debbie is nearly in us in the natural. Her sister married my uncle Matt. He told me no how she was related to us. Her sister named Margie and Matt were married, and Doug and her mother stayed with them. There in Grand River on Matt's old home place or he's still with them.
Of course, it made it enjoyable because Craft over here and Max and Bess was there. And they always did try and throw pranks on me. And I'm just telling you about it today.
I think she got pretty well acquainted with the younger man. We're glad you came, Doug. We're glad to have you. Anyone else? Enjoyed everything that everyone said and done. If you didn't say anything, we enjoyed having you here. We want you to know that we love all of you. You know, we don't get around to tell you sometimes, but I hope you know that. And as far as having another one of these, I'm going to leave that up to Ray and Bill, right? Noah, Don. Y'all want to think about today, or you want to wait later? I'm the moderator.
I'm in David, but this is the rest of them.
Well, I think we need to have them, but we may have to set a time. This is probably the best time to set it.
What about a year from today? Nobody knows what they're going to be doing here. Well, that always just around 7.
We don't have any conflict of dates. I'd like to set it up for West. The days will just vary. It seems like it comes on every time at this time of year. We could set it up a little earlier, or maybe a week earlier. They might.
I'd like to have it before school starts.
When the school starts.
Before the last Barbara starts, well.
Nobody's ever had one, it was my own brother. But I had quite a few of them. And believe me, that one sold a lot of the time. And she came over, and of course some of us were playing marbles, and some were doing this, and some were doing something else. And she thought that was the most unique thing, to have a family like that, they be entertaining one another. Well, we wouldn't do it for anything. We'd do it for survival. So, we might think about that, and if we can set a date. I don't know what Sunday would be better or not. I mean, I hadn't even considered it.
A lot of kids work on Saturday.
They do.
That day.
That's fine. Yeah.